Hi, Pearl Jam fans. This is Chrissie Ferguson with the Wishlist Foundation. I'm also here with Laura Trafton, who is our executive director, and Nick Davis and Tim Jack are joining us tonight as we talk to them about their film that will be coming out July 21st, one time viewing only in theaters. And they're both the directors and producers of the film, and we're just going to ask them a few questions and find out a little bit more about the film. So welcome, guys, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, guys. This is awesome.
So how did this all come to be? How did you all know each other prior to the filming of this of the Gorge? Well, let's talk about the name of the film first. It's called Enormous: The Gorge Story. So prior to that, did you all know each other, and had you collaborated on anything prior to this film?
Traveled the world together, basically.
Yeah, we had
We did.
Nick and I
We
had
started
worked on a bunch of
collaborating
stuff.
on a yeah. We started collaborating on a bunch of different film projects, and one of which was this sort of like cross national project where we Tim and I basically pitched this car company to send us around to, what was it, like 15 cities around North America,
Yeah, just like
like filming these little smart cars.
a crazy like have as many adventures as you can in as short of a period as you can. I think it was like 15 or 16 cities in 6 weeks or something like that. And so we had collaborated on that and had a lot of fun and had done other projects together as well before this one.
And Tim, you were living in Colorado, correct? Or do you still live there?
We both were living in Colorado at the beginning, and now we both live in the Los Angeles area.
Okay, and I think we talked about this before, but why the Gorge? Why not something like Red Rocks or another venue? Why was this your focus for this film?
There's a lot of great places out there. Somebody we talked to yesterday said that hopefully this film shines a spotlight or inspires other people to shine the spotlight on other places to see music, which I thought was a cool idea. But the Gorge, because originally I had seen a concert at the Gorge on YouTube and was just so blown away, like, oh, how could this be a real place? And how come I haven't been there yet? And when I saw that, I just was super inspired and thought it would be really cool to film something out there. And I maybe had in mind a short video, a short YouTube video, or a short something. And we did not know anything about the gorge and the incredible story that was to be told about it. Uh, so it really didn't start out as, hey, we're going to go make a movie and this is the venue it's going to be about. It was just more of this curiosity that started a very small ball rolling, which got much bigger over time.
I don't. I mean, I feel like there, after making this film, there have actually been people who have approached me about making, other films about venues, and I do think that there's obviously, like, there's some cool elements to a lot of different venues around the world. But one thing that makes the Gorge particularly unique, is that it really is in the middle of rural farm country, like 150 miles from nowhere, as Ken Kinnear, one of our interviewees, said. I mean, it's just it's a 30,000 person music venue. So it's pretty unbelievable that this music venue that's that big is in that place. And so, I mean, Jason Mraz in the film, he talks about it being a pilgrimage to go out there. I mean, it really is. Like, I think that, to me, that's one of the most important elements of this place, is that you have to, go on this pilgrimage. You have to pack up, you have to set aside a whole weekend or a few days to, like, make this journey. And because of that, I think people have attached a lot of meaning to the place, both like the artists have, and the fans, and even crew. I mean, there's just so many people who love this place so much, and so I feel like the film hopefully represents that.
And
Definitely.
the venue itself. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
Oh, I was gonna say definitely it's you have to fully invest yourself when you go to the gorge. And it is like a mecca, and it is that whole journey of getting there and the crazy drive through all of the different terrain. And so when you finally get there, when you're finally walking in, once you get past like the ticketing and everything, and you see like the vista spread out behind the stage, and then to actually witness like the sun going down while the show is playing. I honestly like I've only been to a Sasquatch and the Pearl Jam concerts at the Gorge, and out of 150 Pearl Jam shows alone, the Gorge is still one of my top 5 shows of all time, just based solely on the entire experience. And your film absolutely captured that whole feeling as a fan of like what it's like to just go there and the feeling of it and the enormousness and the whole it's very like primal in a way. It's such a and the shots that you've gotten are pretty amazing, I have to say. Those had to be interesting. So my question is, what were your first shows at the Gorge? Have you gotten to see shows there? Obviously in your filming, right?
First one tip for both Tim and myself, the first time that either of us had ever been out to the gorge was for Sasquatch. So it was the first time that um we both had started this project, and I guess that was the first series of shows that we both went to out there while we were filming. So yeah, I mean I remember I was funny as you were saying about that experience of like driving through all this different terrain. And I was just thinking, Tim, I think the first time when we drove out there, I'm pretty sure I had like a red eye flight or something. I'm like sleeping in the trunk. And I remember we had this like big like suburban sort of thing. I remember sort of looking out and I'm like, I had never been to the gorge before, and I just had signed up for this to, direct this film with Tim. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere. There's like sagebrush. Like, there's nothing out here. I'm like, this does not seem like it's very cool. Like, I don't know what we were thinking. And you sort of, John Oates from Hall and Oates, he says the same thing. He's like, I remember driving out there, and he's like through fields and fields and fields, and it's just like, there's just nothing. And then you sort of crest over the hill, right? And then you see this incredible expanse and like the river and all the people in the stage, and then you just sort of you're like, oh, okay, like this is what I came here for. So yeah, I remember that moment very clearly.
And it
Yeah,
seems
when
like
we
it was that 90. Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
I was just saying when we first got there, we did not have watching shows on our mind at all, because I think we got there and immediately started unloading and were filming within 1 hour of arrival. We got
Oh wow.
uh, cordoned off into a kind of a media room where we could unload our gear and plug things in, and then uh, just immediately we're interviewing a band right away. We did get to see quite a lot of great shows after we were done filming for the day, a number of times, which is really great. But yeah, it was our first time there. We had never been there, had never seen a show there, and we're just filming right away. So we kind of just got swept right away into it.
And it took you all a few years, right? 3 or 4 years to finish this film.
Longer. We had
Wow.
it took I think it really took, about I think it took really 3 years to really make it, maybe 4, because there's only so much time, each year to film, because it's May to September approximately for the concert season, and there's only a handful, of events that we traveled for, each summer to film, and then you've got, a year of plus of post-production, and then we were supposed to release the film, and then we got canceled due to COVID, unfortunately, which put us back yet another year. So it has been uh, a very long and challenging process indeed, and we have learned to not give up, because the end is near. It is finally coming out.
People don't realize how hard it is to make a documentary film. I mean, it really is. There are so many elements from the pre-production and the planning to trying to tell this really complex story and figuring out what to shoot, how you want to tell this story, then shooting it, trying to line up all these interviews with major musicians and all the other, the fans and stuff that we filmed with. And then you go into the post-production process and you try and put all this together and like tell the most compelling, interesting story you can. And then you have to get the music licensing, you have to do all the like get all the color done, the audio mix, like there's so many elements. And it's funny because like people read us on our Facebook page and they're like, why haven't you released this yet? We're like, we are doing our best. There's like two of us. We're doing
Yeah,
everything, okay? And
my
so I
favorite
want to let
my
people
favorite
know
one
we're trying.
my favorite one is when people say, "Just put it on Netflix." Just, yeah, just put it on there.
You're right. Because it's so easy. Anyone could do it
Like,
like that.
I just, I sent a Dropbox link to Netflix, in an email. I don't know why it's not on there. I should follow up.
Well, it's good because that means everybody wants to see it. The hype is there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit. I know you don't have a whole lot of time, but I would love to know and tell everyone a little bit about the background of the gorge, because I think knowing and learning a little bit about the Bryan family and what their vision was for this area is so cool. And I know there's a lot more to tell in the film, and people will have to go and see it. But if you could just touch on how this even began in the first place. Can you hear me?
I can't hear Nick. I don't know.
Oh,
He looks like he's saying something good.
I was just asking you, Tim, if you want to take this question.
Oh, sure. Your audio was working perfectly now. So, yeah, sure. The Bryan family they're really interesting characters, by the way. Vince Bryan the third, as it were, is very similar to Vince Bryan the second, and I imagine maybe similar to the first. They're a very interesting group of people. Carol Bryan as well. Very, very sweet lady and very motivated couple and family in general. They got the land and never had any idea that they were going to make a music venue out of it. Of course, it was purchased for the purpose of growing grapes and being a very interesting guy. Vince was a neurosurgeon previously, and I think it for him was sort of a turning of a chapter for him to do something different and as a family as well. And it seemed that they had this idea, and it was kind of crazy because at the time I don't think people were viewing that part of Washington as a place to grow wine grapes or really anything at all to speak of. And it was very accidental. I think the one of the main things that drove this to happen was they had discovered this unique sound quality, this amphitheater quality on accident, and took notice of it. And at some point, they decided they were they were an estate winery. So what that I came to learn means that they were not allowed to sell the wine outside of their facility for whatever the restrictions around that are. And so people actually had to come to the winery to purchase the product there, which is a long way to go to buy a bottle of wine. So they put up a stage rather quickly and invited a brass band to come and play and attracted quite the number of people. I think there was 13 or 1400 RSVPs, as Carol Bryan said on the first event. So with that level of success from day one, I think it was pretty much destined to be what it's become.
Thing we were toying with throughout the film is the idea of the impossibility of this place because it's such if I remember correctly, I mean, I think the people before the Bryans like literally won this land in a lottery because they were just, like the land was like essentially considered to be like worthless. They're like, just give them, just, you can enter the lottery for this land because it's not farmable. It's on all these cliffs. No one was growing grapes out there at the time. So no one's like thinking that they're going to be like wineries out there. and let alone a music venue. I mean, it's unbelievable that this place exists. And so there's all these factors. There's first off that this place, even, that they find this piece of land, that they start growing grapes, that they set up this little plywood stage, that people actually want to go, that promoters get involved and then buy the venue and then start to make it a little bit bigger, and that now, like literally millions of people travel to this patch of farmland to go just like dance and listen to music. It's insane. So we were trying to figure out how to sort of showcase the impossibility of it in the film, and just show this sort of wild series of events that happened. So yeah,
Well, you have
I think it's a
this
pretty cool
one
element.
shot. I think it's like an aerial shot from behind the gorge that's coming in over the lake or the river, and it zooms in like behind the stage, and you see just how close it is up to the edge of that cliff. I never even realized that until I saw your film, and I was like, oh man, you know, that is literally the literal and metaphorical of the impossibility of that it's there, that it's, propped up right on the edge of this cliffside, and that's what gives it the beautiful views, and I guess the just the overall nature of the whole thing adds to that. And I guess how they were demoing it and all those shots, that was very cool to see what it used to look like versus what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Mike McCready says, how he's putting down the guitar and then just being there inspired him to pick the guitar back up? Or can you share that story? Because maybe we should save it for the viewers.
Definitely allude to it a little bit. I was thinking about that. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are going to be really interested in Mike and his story with the venue, and Pearl Jam's story, because obviously, like, they have an incredible past with the Gorge, and we're there. It was really interesting. I mean, when we were talking to a lot of different people about the venue and its history, and you see in the edit, all these people who are like Pearl Jam, like, dozens of people we talked to were like, yes, you have to talk about this Pearl Jam show, because there was one
Hmm.
particularly iconic Pearl Jam show where there was I mean, first off, it was crazy. There was like barricades being toppled. Like Pearl Jam was really, like, I think the fan base was that Pearl Jam was just like hitting its stride. And I think people were so excited, and it was just like this incredible energy at the venue. And so from what we've heard, like, this was just an sort of an iconic show at the Gorge. It was, I think, the Bryans' last show where they actually owned the Gorge too, and so it was a really important moment for both the Gorge itself and and just sort of this crazy moment in history. But yeah, I mean, there was this great story with Mike McCready where he had basically given up music at the time and had put down his guitar, and sort of, he'd been playing music since he was a kid, and he said it just wasn't working. Like, he had been in bands and they weren't taking off, and he's like, I don't know, I don't know if I have the energy, and that, like, if I want to be committing myself to music like that. And he went and saw Stevie Ray Vaughan perform at the Gorge, another show that people have talked about, of just like Stevie Ray Vaughan just sort of elevating and just playing,
Oh yeah.
out of his mind. And um and people saw that show, and Mike being one of them. And Mike was like, I'm playing, I have to play. Like, he was so inspired by that show that he got back into guitar, and then eventually, was joined up with the rest of Pearl Jam. So a pretty cool moment to see, like, who knows where Mike would have been, who knows where Pearl Jam would have been without that show at the Gorge.
For
Pretty
sure.
wild.
Ironically, it all came back around very serendipitously because Mike was honored, I think about 2 years ago, with the Stevie Ray Vaughan Award for his work, with sobriety and artists from Music Cares. So being at that event, at the Showbox with him, and then hearing him talk about the effect that Stevie had on him, and then how that kind of played back around again. It always, again, it's like that whole elemental thing where everything really is so connected, and we don't even realize it at the time, right?
Absolutely. That's incredible to hear
About
too.
Mike. Yeah.
So I have a question. Wait, I have one more question. Now that you guys have done all these interviews with the different artists and stuff, if you could go back in time and see one of the shows of all of the different shows that have been at the Gorge, what show would both of you individually have gone back to go to see as a fan, just for fun?
Oh, I would have gone to see the Pearl Jam show for sure. That's I'm not just saying that. After hearing all those stories, I think I'd like to see that one the most, for sure.
The 93 one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The one in 06 was 115 degrees, so that wasn't
Yeah.
it was an amazing show, but it was really hot.
The one with
Really
the
hot.
human tsunami.
Yes.
That's the one I'd like to see a human. Okay. Dangerous, but also exciting.
Too,
So,
Neil Young played that night too, which would be, that's an
Mhm.
incredible lineup.
oh yeah, for
I
sure.
was gonna say, I mean, I feel like one of the shows I would really have loved to have seen is the 1988 show with Bob Dylan. Um, it's just in the film, you'll like you guys have seen, but the fans will see. I mean, it's a pretty incredible moment for that venue, just of being totally disorganized, really not having any idea what they're doing, and then tens of thousands of people show up in this sort of Woodstock like environment, and so I think that yeah, that one would have been a pretty cool one. Although I feel like maybe it wouldn't have been that cool because the infrastructure apparently was terrible and there's like no bathrooms. Like people were driving in like fields and no one knew what was happening. So maybe from a fan's perspective, maybe the Pearl Jam show is actually the right answer. So I think I'm with you, Tim.
It is kind of like a field of dreams, right? Like if you build it, hopefully they'll come. You
They
mentioned
will
the
come.
field earlier.
That's right.
Well, thank you guys so much. We know you're busy today and tired from finally the tickets being released and the show,
Congratulations!
which is very exciting. And we just want to remind everybody that the film will be released on July 21st. And you can visit enormousmovie.com. We also have a page on wishlistfoundation.org if you would like to see where the film will be released in your state, and if you'd like to purchase tickets. So Laura and I got a sneak peek, and we can definitely recommend this film. It is amazing, guys, and you should be very proud.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And we're super excited for people to see it. And the tickets are directly on sale as of today on enormousmovie.com. It's nationwide, most major cities and a lot of other markets where the bands and those fans are found. So enormousmovie.com, type in your city and there should be a location to get tickets from. So we're super excited that this is happening, and we're really grateful for Wishlist and all the people that are fans of Pearl Jam and everybody else out there that is going to take the time to do this. We are super excited. So thank you guys.
Man, all the Pearl Jam fans out there too, you guys let Chrissie and Laura know, because if you're in a market where you have a bunch of people who want to see the film and there's not a theater, let them know. They'll let us know, and we'll try and get you guys a theater set up too. So
Sure.
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much again for your time, and we can't wait to see the movie in theaters.
It'll definitely resonate with our fan base. Thank you so much.
Right on. Thank you guys.